Okay, for this tutorial I want us to focus on two ideas. We're going to look at what's called the canvas. It was new with HTML5 just a couple of years ago, and it enables you to draw on in the browser. So I'm going to do something like this, and what we're doing is we're populating the browser with all these kind of drawn circles with varying radius sizes and varying degrees of alpha channel opacities here, and you can see that there. We're going to learn how to do this, and we're also going to learn how to make an object. For object-oriented programming is what JavaScript is, and we're going to learn how to make an object and a constructor. And what that enables you to do, what a constructor is, it's a way of making one object. You're going to make, instead of writing code for 1,000 of these circles, we're going to write the code for one circle and just run it through a for loop 1,000 times. So we're going to learn how to do those things in this tutorial. And so the three things really is important. That third one, the for loop, is something we haven't encountered yet that's very powerful and used often in any programming language, most programming languages. Okay, so let's dig in. I want to let's start with a, I'm going to, if we go to a constructor, I'm going to say JavaScript constructor, just so you know where I'm getting this starting stuff from. And so this is an object. Think of an object as something like it's you know, like in, if you're playing Space Invaders, it's the aliens, it's the, you know, the bullets, these kind of some item. It's all sorts of different, you know, even any different kind of item. Almost anything can be an object within the JavaScript language, and I'll show you. You can see here Booleans can be object, numbers, and what we're going to do is we're going to focus on, if we come down here to the object constructor, and this is where you really get a sense of the other thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the JavaScript canvas. What I want to do is set up a basic, and so here you can really learn about, you can do things like draw gradients and all sorts of different color schemes within a div or within within a section of the browser that you designate. And so we're going to steal some stuff from here that kind of gets us initializing how we set up our canvas. So what I'm going to do is, in currently on Blackboard, I have set up for you a kind of template that has jQuery built in, but we're not even going to touch jQuery in this tutorial. Don't all scream at once. So so what I'm going to do is just take this kind of basic startup one and just say start, just so you can see how it builds. Canvas start. I'm going to just call it 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have just basically it's a blank document with the, like I said, the jQuery one built in. That's just good to have, even if you're, doesn't hurt to have it in there if you're not, even if you're not using it. So what I want to do right here, if you read through this, basically it says this is the canvas tag. It's just like a H1 tag, a P tag. What it does is it designates a particular section of the browser to be the area that you're going to draw in. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into the body. Okay, and we can even use their ID that they have set up, my canvas. And right here we can customize this to be the size that we want. Let's say we want it to be 1,500 pixels and 1,000 vertical, and let's say we want to get rid of that style right here. And okay, something like that, and I'll save that. Okay, And now we want to add a couple other things. So when we want to, there's a couple things you have to do in order to be able to draw in the canvas, and it's really these two elements here. In fact, I'm gonna grab all of these right here, so you can draw lines. And this is going to be in the JavaScript section. So if we go down to the bottom here, right before the body tag ends, we'll plunk those in. So here's my canvas. It's talking to the ID my canvas. And so what this is just doing is it's like connecting the HTML section of the body to the code, to the JavaScript code. So then we can refer to, all we have to refer to now is this context here, CTX, this variable, and then we can fill it with different colors and a rectangle and things like that. And if we ran this, we would probably just fill it with a blue rectangle right here at a certain, here it is. The rectangle here is telling us the location you want it to start at, the X, the Y, and then the width and height. Okay, we're not going to use a rectangle, although you could. We're going to use a circle, and that is, they're a little further down. Here's the circle. How do you do that? So basically, I want to just show you. You're just kind of swiping these elements. You can see it all starts the same. We don't really need the stroke. You could include that, and I'm going to put that down in here. Okay. So that's our kind of starting point. These first two are the ones you need to draw anything in the canvas, and that's just setting up the context. Think of it as like the drawing area and assigning it a variable. Okay, now that we've done that, so we have this canvas tag, we have this kind of initializing script, and now what we want to do is we're going to create a for loop that will use these. Let me see. Okay. A for loop has 3 parts. And it's customary for people to use the variable I. So you say I equals 0. This is, it could really equal anything you want. It's an initializing state. So this first section of the 3 is called the initializing state, and then you want to set a condition. For us, it's going to be how many, really? Okay, sorry. How many circles do we want to make? Okay, and for right now we'll just say 5. Pardon me, it'll be 6 if we're counting from 0. And then I++ is a kind of shorthand to say iterate through, go to the next one, add one more to I, so that it really is saying like I equals I plus 1. Okay, and this is very kind of common. You could use this for an array and say like my array dot length. That's a very common thing that you would see that would cycle through an array. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, what we want to do is take this information here and automate it. Okay, so for the arc, what we have are a total of 5 variables. Okay, and the variables are the x and y coordinates, the radius, what's the kind of size of the circle, and then where does it start, where does the kind of angle start, and where does the angle end. And so if you remember from your trigonometry stuff, 2 pi is a full circle, 1 pi is like a half circle. So you do some kind of like equation to make like if you wanted to make a Pac-Man, that would be something that's less than 2 pi, kind of like where a slice is taken out. And you can look up some trigonometry things to define that. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to create a constructor to put to kind of automate this, to put variables in there. And we're also going to automate it so we have random colors every time through. So each cycle through this for loop, we want to generate a random X and Y, and we're going to generate a radius, a random radius, and random colors. Okay, so let's get into the fun of that. So we'll use our friend the math random. Let's make a variable that says X. We'll start with the where is this going to be on the screen, and know that our width is 1500 and our height is 1000. So you could do something like, and this I know has to be a math floor, math.random. I'll do it the long way, and then we'll do it the quick way. Math random times, let's go 1500 minus the size of our radius. Let's just say our radius is 40. So we'll say, let's just say 50 to make the math easier. 1450 there. Okay, and then variable y, we got to math floor that. So let's just call this xr, and then this x, and then we'll say math dot floor and then xr. Okay, and that just turns it into an integer, because when it's going to be coming in here, this wants your x and y and radius to be integers, not floating point numbers, not decimal place numbers. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for y, but this time I'm just going to do it all in one. So variable y is so this kind of math random thing is sitting inside that, and I'm just going to say 950 there. So it's a little, so it's going right to the edge based on the radius. We could make like the biggest circle, let's say, is 100, and then let's do that right now, in fact. So what we're going to say is variable r equals math floor math dot random 100. So what this is going to do is say it'll put, let's say, at the farthest most edge, either at the 0 or all the way to the width or height of the end, the circle will still pretty much be right in the frame in the browser. Okay. Now what we'll do is let's do our RGB, and you could do this as HSL, and that okay, so let's call this rad, and then this will be, I'm going to just copy and paste this, except we want to use, if we're going to be using RGB, it's going to be times 255, and we're going to just copy that and make this the G, and then next. Okay, so we're warming up. Now what we're going to do is what we got to do is make our constructor. And so I think it would be helpful for us to I forgot what I was going to say there. Yeah, that's it. I want to see, I think it's going to be helpful for us to do a console log for these numbers here. So let's do something like this, a console log, what the x and y are, and let's do another one for the RGB in the radius. just so you don't have to see me type, I'm going to watch me type. Could it be more boring? Okay, now let's get to the more important stuff, and that is setting up this function. So we're going to wrap this top part here in a function, and we'll call it circle. Except for our circle, we're going to want to have those 5 variables here. Did I say 5? I meant 6. So we'll copy that stuff, put it in here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, what you're going to see here is that when this new, so this is the constructor right here, and it's calling on this object that we've made with these parameters. Okay, and these parameters are going to be the properties that our circle is going to have. It's going to have a location on the screen, the X and Y location, it's going to have a radius, and it's going to have color information. Those are the properties that we're going to have. So what this does is, this is saying, okay, so if I equals 0 and I is less than 6, increment I by 1. So let's just say I is 1, and it's going to run through here, and it's going to run all of these. And so all these things are going to be run once, and numbers are going to get plunked right into here, and then they're going to get shot up right into here, and one circle will be drawn. And then this is going to run again because I is 1 and it's less than 6, so run it again. Okay, that for the second time through, it's going to give us a whole new set of random X, Y, RGB, and radius numbers. Plunk it into our constructor, and this is what the constructor does. This is the power of object-oriented programming and using a constructor. You can make this one object and use it a million times. And so each time through, we're using this for loop to say, run this 6 times, and then each time through make different variables that are going to be then sent into the circle object. Okay, so there's a couple things that we want to do here. I just got to get, instead of the, you can see it's a hexadecimal. Let's do one at a time. I'm going to get rid of this fill style that's just a fixed number, instead replace it with something that is going to be a variable. So I'm going to just change these to be, these letters should be whatever the properties are that are here. So we're just going to change those to the correct ones. So these flow through and right into this slot. Okay. And now we're going to use the X and Y right there, X, Y, and that's going to be the radius. Okay? If you wanted to make sometimes it not a complete circle, you'd put that in here. Okay? So this is looking good. Let me see if there's anything else we have to add. I think we're getting close. Okay. So that's that. I think we're good. Let's test it out and see if we got it to work. And then what I've created for you is a whole set of variations on this that are all in that. So this is the one we've just been working on. Let's launch it into the browser. Okay, that's not a good sign. I've given you the one that works. Let's see if there's an error message we can. Okay, so we got some info working here, and let's do it again. Just for the argument's sake, I'm going to show you how it the one that you have here. I'm just going to hide that for right now. And here's the one I was just working on. I must have left out something. This is the one that you have. That you is in the packet of stuff that I've given to you. So what I just want to show you is this. So right now it's just running through I is less than 6, and so when we click that, and I'm going to just go Command R, so it's going to shoot out these 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be 6. Maybe one of them is smaller than. Oh, it's counting when it starts at 0. The first one through is 1. Okay. So you can see I'm just kind of hitting that, and it's sending them all over the screen. Okay. So this one, the X and Y are kind of like 10 and 2 or something like that, with these different shades of green. And now what I want you to see is if I can just crank this up here and save that, and now if I go Command R, we have 1,006 circles that we've made in less than a second. So it's a different way of drawing and thinking, and you can, this is all the different variations of this same exact thing. I've done some for you where it's automated every second that it'll update, so you can see that's what's happening here. We have a set interval that's happening. I have some that are using alpha channels. I show you how to set a clear function in those other tutorial files. So just kind of follow along, but the big kind of main concepts are we're using the for loop to cycle through a batch of times to crunch all these numbers, and then we're using this constructor that's saying fill each of these slots here. Take this number, plunk it right in here. Take that number, plunk it right in there, then send it up to our object. This is the thing, think of it like a cookie cutter. This is like the prototype that all the 1,000 things get made from. Okay, and that's the object. Okay, that's the, and this format with this is the constructor. I hope that's a fun start for us to get going. And but there's all sorts of things that you can do for with the canvas. For instance, if you want some fun exercise suggestions, I'll put them onto Blackboard, but things that you could do include put text on top of this over the circles with, assigning it different colors every time or something like that. You could use hue, saturation, and lightness as your color scheme. That's a good exercise. Changing the tempo, all sorts of good stuff, and I have a bunch of other ones too. I'll put that on Blackboard. I'll see you tonight.